So I have been absolutely addicted to the Proto GT Challenge here in iRacing. As you can see though, in qualifying at Spa, we had this really weird snap of oversteer coming through Blanchiment, which ruined my first qualifying lap. And on my second qualifying lap, actually, I ran out of fuel going through the bus stop. So both of my laps were completely ruined, and sadly, this is not going to be the only time today where this weird snap of oversteer is going to be happening. Because of this, we're going to be rolling off the grid P9 today in our HPD 01C as we come now through the bus stop and onto the green flag as we wait for the leaders to go. And there we go. Green flag is out here at Spa as we go down into T1, of course, trying to make sure that we can get through cleanly, have no incidents whatsoever as we are going to do so. Everyone keeping it tight and neat through there. It's a 30-minute race, so people know not to risk it as we now go down the hill, racing towards Eau Rouge, just slotting in the wheel tracks of this black car up ahead of me here, trying to get a perfect exit to get a very nice run on everyone down Kimmel Straight. However, I'm going to be boxed in by this blue and purple car. We are going to move down to the inside, though, as you can see, going too wide into the chicane, and I am just going to back out of it here and let him go by. It was a pretty good move by him, a nice defense, but in this early in the race, I am not looking for any kind of issues or incidents whatsoever. We're just going to follow him through, going into No Name corner now, taking it easy on the brakes, especially going downhill while everything is still warming up. This is still a prototype. We still have some grip, however, definitely not as much as the newer prototypes as we now come through to the one of the fastest sections of Spa, of course, and we are going to have all the dirty air in the world. We're going to get a little bit washed wide, and sadly, we are going to pick up an off track here as well, which is unfortunate. As you can see, we got 12x of 25 in this whole race, so it definitely was not the cleanest race ever, but it's also Spa, and those off tracks are definitely easy to pick up, as once again we're still just following Mr. Eduardo up ahead, but there is going to be a little bit of chaos up front as we do see this white car spinning off, coming on over the racing line. Thankfully, we were just far behind enough to where we really didn't have to worry about it. He just got a weird snap of oversteer there, and a little tag from the gold Joda car, and he is going to be out in the wall, and his race is over, unfortunately. We come now back into the slipstream, going through Blanchiment, taking it easy, remembering what happened to me in qualifying, but also hoping that it was just a one-off thing as we come into the bus stop for the first time. Again, just taking it easy, a little too far back for any kind of move, and we are going to now come on to complete lap 1. Into T1 now, taking it easy, of course, once again on the brakes, still too far back, but this black car is going to run very wide, and he's actually going to be holding up this blue car just a little bit. He's going to have a nice run on him, but he is going to get stuck probably behind him going up Eau Rouge. I have the perfect spacing right now to just get the best slipstream possible. If I time this right, we should be able to absolutely rocket behind both of these guys, probably, but just cruise right through. They're going side by side right now. Am I going to attempt to make it 3 wide? No, I am not. However, the guy on the inside, Ryan, he is going to back out, so that is going to give us up a place going around the outside. A little sketchy into there. I'm glad he didn't defend too much. We were both quicker than him, and he is smart and just trying to preserve his race and live to fight another day. Although he is going to kind of run in to the back of us, though. Thankfully, no damage. It was kind of just a netcode thing. However, we did get a 4x from that, unfortunately. Through No Name now, we do have a little bit of a gap starting to form between me and Eduardo, so I am just managing that, trying to keep with them. Of course, we do have a tiny bit of dirty air from these cars going through some of the fast corners, so that is to be expected, but still just trying to brake a little later than him, carry a little bit more speed, just kind of chip down at this 0.7 of a second gap. We now cut ahead here, 7 minutes into lap 3, going up Eau Rouge once again, As you can see, we have a nice slipstream here on Eduardo. We're going to pull out to the outside as he defends the inside pretty well. We do have quite a bit of speed on him, though, so this should be a pretty signed, sealed, and delivered overtake. We're going to get on the brakes late, take the racing line, and he is going to back out of it, thankfully. It was a pretty damn good move by myself, and a pretty decent defense from Eduardo. Not much he can do, though, just with how much faster I was around the outside going into the chicane. Always a lovely move here at Spa. We continue now once again through No Name Corner, making sure to nail my braking spot. We have the fake Joda car up ahead of us, and we're going to see if we can close this gap now, and of course extend the gap behind to Eduardo. I don't get the best exit out of that corner, though, and he is going to get a little bit of a slipstream on me into here, but hopefully the dirty air will work to kind of keep him behind, and it will, as he is going to be following us through here. He's gaining a little bit, though, as the leaders go side by side up ahead, or actually, sorry, no, it's not side by side with the leader. This is a lapped car right here, and he is, of course, going to lose it, and we're going to get a netcode 4X right here. Take a look at this BS. Just loses on its own. I maybe kind of come in contact with him a little bit. I didn't feel anything through my wheels, so once again, kind of just a netcode thing, but pretty rough here regardless, as we now once again go through Blanchimon. Whoa, what was that? What a weird, once again, that snap as I come across the track here. Just had enough time on my relative. In hindsight, that was a pretty damn dangerous thing to do, but thankfully it did work out. I don't know why this is happening, even to this day. I do not know why this car snapped twice around here. I did everything right. I think maybe I just gave it a little bit of too much steering rotation, but even then, I don't know. I feel like I did the same thing I did every other lap, and for some reason, this time it just didn't work out for me, which is very unfortunate. We're going to drop back down now to P8, I'm pretty sure, and we will see what we can do here now behind Lucio. We know that we are quicker than him going into turn 1. Let's see what we can do. We're now heading up Eau Rouge right here. Luciano, of course, there's not much he can do. He can just try to get the best possible line through here. Again, we do know we're quicker. We're in the slipstream. He's going to go defensive to the outside, which is actually pretty smart with all the outside overtakes we have been doing, but we just have so much more speed on him. We're going to get the move done before we even get to the turn. Nothing he could have really done there. I was quicker anyway, so thankfully he didn't hold us up too much. But some fair, clean racing there, and that's what you like to see in this Proto Challenge. We're now a little over halfway into the race, P6. We need to see how high we can climb here. We want to get as high of a position as we can. I'm kind of frustrated behind the wheel. I'm focused but frustrated, knowing that a mistake that I still don't really think was my fault. I mean, of course it was, as we have a very slow Corvette here who went a little wide into the corner, and sadly we're going to be held up by him in the bus stop. But as I was saying, I don't know what I did, so in my opinion, I'm just kind of frustrated that something that seems out of my control has put me all the way back here in P6 when we could have been probably P3 in this race. But now we're chasing down Kenny, who's being really held up here by the GT1 ahead in the Aston Martin. Let's see what we can do here. Try to get a good exit around the outside. A little sketchy there as the gap did start to close, but thankfully Robert did leave us a little bit of room, and we're now once again in the slipstream of Kenny Connors here, going for the top 5 move. Let's see what we can do around the outside. I'm remembering, though, what happened. I take a nice big lift, but he is going to back out, thankfully, and this will be the move done. Kind of sketchy, especially after what just happened a couple laps ago, but thankfully it worked out a-okay. No damage, no contact, and a nice clean move to move back into the top 5. As we now cut 26 minutes in the race, we've been chasing down Javi here for a very, very long time. We're going to follow this Corvette. Sadly, through the chicane here. There's not much you can really do. Thankfully, these GT1s are actually pretty quick, but still definitely slower through the corners than these older LMP2 cars. We're gonna thankfully dispatch him though before No Name Corner, and now the chase is on against Javi. 0.4 seconds. Thankfully, he did get held up a little bit, even worse than I did from that GT1 car, and regardless, we were having some pretty consistent pace throughout this race. We were able to catch up to him, but I want you to notice something here. Look at that relative. He is pulling away from me right now on the straights. He is running a low downforce setup. I'm running a medium downforce setup, which means I'm going to be substantially quicker than him through the high-speed corners especially, but he is going to be quicker than me on the long straights, most notably the Kimmel straight right here. Look at the gap, 1.0, 1.1. It's going to go up now to 1.2 and 1.3 before we get to the chicane, 1.4. Gained 0.5 on me there on the Kimmel straight, but thankfully though, as you can see, as soon as we get through that chicane, it just collapses back down. So this is going to be about trying to get the move done on him as quick as we can and early on the track as we can, so we can try to pull a gap through the high-speed Sector 2. As we come onto the final lap now, this Corvette is in the worst place for me right here. Javi is, of course, going to dispatch him first. He's going to get the easy job of driving by him going through Eau Rouge. Sadly, though, I'm going to be stuck behind him through Eau Rouge. Thankfully, though, he doesn't really hold me up a ton, and we do get to keep chasing Javi. 0.6 seconds the gap, but as you know, he's got that low downforce setup, so he's just going to pull away, and there is just nothing I can do. It's a miserable feeling, but later on the brakes than him, holding a lot more speed through these corners, we're going to close that gap once again right back up. If we're going to make this move stick, we need to make it now, because he will be so much quicker than us on that final long straight and going through Blanchimont as we go through No Name Corner, chasing him as hard as I can here. The gap closing every single corner. I'm right on his bumper now, and I am actually close enough here to get a little bit of slipstream, plus braking later. I'm right on his gearbox. We are nose to tail going through the high-speed sweepers. We now go through this left-right chicane. I'm going to hold it around the outside and brake later than in here, holding it there, and we're going to make the move stick. But now, crucially and unfortunately, this Aston Martin is right here on the apex. He's going to hold me up through here, and it was still, regardless, nothing I can do. He just doesn't want to move out of the way. But now we have the most miserable part of this track. I go to defend the inside, but there's nothing I can really do against Javi. He's going to get past me before we even get to Blanchimont. That is just the low downforce setup doing what it does best. We're going to get later on the brakes here, but sadly just a little bit too far back going into the bus stop, going through the final corner. We're going to finish nose to tail as there is some chaos up ahead. The Corvette and the LMP2 coming together, but we're going to have to settle for P5. Unfortunately, it's a shame because we were on for a podium finish without that spin, but a great battle with Javi here at the end. I highly recommend you try this series out. To get the Honda, it's just $3 for this LMP2 car since it's older content, but it drives amazingly, and as you can see, the racing is just so good. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, like and a sub would mean a lot, and I'll see ya in the next one. Have a good one, guys.